cold and reserved and calculated in the way that they answer stuff. I would rather just be real and just tell you guys what I really think. So I've tried to orchestrate things in a way where I can do that. And I'm going to continue to do it until, somebody tells me otherwise. We got Kosk. They say, I'm $30K in debt and I've taken out a $10,000 loan to invest in XRP. How long? It's not a good idea. How long before I can pay my debt off using XRP? You sent me pounds here, so I'm assuming you're in the UK. Don't over leverage yourself to invest in this asset, right? I would figure out a solution where you're able to provide value and create value in society that allows you to pay that debt off. I wouldn't rely on an investment to do it. Not saying it's not going to work out. I'm just saying, that's risky to add additional debt to hopefully pay off the other debt. I don't know is the answer. I was very confident that we would see something at the end of last year. I came on here and told you guys that, and then that didn't happen. So I'm hesitant to put out any timeframes or timelines on stuff. Maybe it's the Chinese calendar that they were talking about. I don't know. I would love to see it in that time frame. I mean, that's like a week away, but I don't know. I'm waiting on these macro events. All of these things have to happen. It's not just a magic flip of the switch moment and they turn this stuff on. There has to be a real demand for the token to drive the price to the level it needs to be. And that's going to come from global, large enterprise players and exchanges. It's not going to be retail that does that. And the only way they're going to do that is if they have to have it and they're migrating to this new system and they're going to be able to be using it. Permission Dex, again, goes live here in just a week. Maybe they're waiting for that to be put in place before they roll this deal out. I know Evernorth, they haven't finalized their SPAC yet. Maybe they're waiting till after that goes live and they're able to use XRP to go, finalize the SPAC. I don't know. Timelines seem correlated for all that to happen, but until real world macroeconomics play out, I can't, it's not me. I'm not the one doing it. I can just see this domino effect playing out, and I come on here and talk about it with you guys. But until it does, unfortunately, the price is going to continue to trend with Bitcoin and the rest of the market. We'll take a couple more super chats, and then we'll wrap it up tonight. Mr. Bracy says, hey, Jake, do you think ZBEC will be one of the ones you use long-term, seeing it's so qualified, or would you invest in something else? I don't own any ZBEC. I know people that have made money on ZBEC. I made money on a bunch of tokens in 2020 and 2021, 13 different positions. I think most people should be diversified. I think ZBEC has sound fundamentals and partnerships. It's a good use case and application for the technology. Ripple, I will tell you, listening to the Ripple community day to day, G Treasury, they're talking about payroll. They're talking about paying people up to the day using their stuff. That kind of disintermediates ZBEC. Now, they're talking about global enterprises, okay? ZBEC might be more like a Gusto or something domestic here in the US that gains market share in specific applications or for smaller enterprises or medium to small size companies. And maybe market share is taken by Ripple for the large treasury management and payroll and that side. There's a couple different market segments there. But, for huge price and inflows and adoption, you probably want the one Ripple's going after. You got Electronium. There's other stuff that's peer-to-peer, small application payments, less than $10,000 that will be adopted. So I don't know how it's going to turn out over the long term. Sounds good, has sound fundamentals. I invested in 13 of those things early on that all seemed that way. And luckily for me, we saw price appreciation for the whole market. I don't know that that's going to be the case for this utility bull run. But again, has sound fundamentals. If you want to make an allocation, if you've done the research and you think it's a good investment, talk to a financial advisor and pull the trigger. And I have a video on it on my channel if you want to go watch that. I can tell you it's not held by institutions at this point. That's one of the things for me is I want my stuff in institutional custody. ZBEC is not on the roadmap for Anchorage or any other financial institution that I'm aware of holding it anytime soon. Crypto Beginners Australia 8451 says, "Hey Jake, massive follower from Brisbane. Awesome dude. For over a year now, appreciate all that you do. I have a company and a self-managed super fund in Australia. Can you work with that or better off individually?" We can do both. We can do all three. If you want to do all three, if you're holding crypto in each one of those, we would love to work with you at Digital Wealth Partners. Again, you just go to digitalwealthpartners.net, go to the contact us form, sign up, talk to an advisor, see if it's a good fit for you. There are fees. We charge for the services we provide. It's not like it's Caleb and Brown where it's free to hold your stuff there until you trade something. We have lower cost on trades than they do. But if everybody has a different need and different wants, and their solution might fit you better than us. I would talk with an advisor. I would say our custody there is, it's the same place that BlackRock holds their stuff. BlackRock doesn't hold their assets with Caleb and Brown. So if you want it at the same place as BlackRock, we democratize access to that. XRP 589 Staker, they say, "What are your thoughts on post of Binance Wintermute and Seabase pumping and dumping Bitcoin and Ethereum, liquidating the customers?" As long as there's not regulatory oversight in this industry, you're going to continue to see people take advantage of stuff. So, I don't approve of it. It's not something that I advocate for or like seeing, but I understand why they're doing it. And again, I think they'll continue to do it, unfortunately, until there's high levels of compliance in the space that force people to be good actors. Running up on time here. I'm going to take one more super chat. We'll just go all the way to the bottom. If I miss your super chat, you can always reach out to us on social media. Actually, I think I have a couple here that I was supposed to read off, so I'll finish with those. Because otherwise my wife will be upset with me. Here we go. She's nice enough to send them to me. So this is the one I missed from last week. American Apple, or Monday. They say, "Hey, thanks for helping me out. I really appreciate it. My question was, hey Jake, when you have an LLC set up and you're successfully onboarded with DWP, is there a way for DAG or DFO to help with the applying for long-term work visas or green cards to the U.S. if you're an international client? If not directly, are there some referrals that can be made?" Yeah, we definitely have referrals. We have people on our network that can help you with that. There's a certain concierge service that we know of. It's not cheap, but we can get it done. So, keep that in mind. It's probably not something you need right now, but post-price appreciation, we absolutely have partners and solutions out there to be able to help you get a visa or citizenship here if you need it. I got enough time for one more. We'll grab one more. Again, here's the code if you need the LLC, just for people before we wrap up. Again, it's 50 off 50 OFF DAG LLC. That gets you everything end to end for your holding company there in Wyoming. If you are domestic here in the U.S., we can set it up if you're international, but there's some extra stuff there. But we do recommend that highly if you are domestic and you have at least $50,000 to $80,000 in your crypto portfolio. All right, last but not least, we got Rockin' HL. He says, "Does cripple? It's 11 o'clock. Does Ripple work with all the partners, acquisitions, etc. without XRP? Simple question for a simple man and simple mind. Bless you." So in the beginning, yes. When they made the acquisition of Ripple Prime, when they made the acquisition of G Treasury, when they made the acquisition of Rail and Palisade, they made strategic investments in these companies early on and advocate for the use of XRP, but until they're really brought into the fold, they're not going to be using XRP until Ripple kind of mandates that. And obviously they're doing that because it's at the core of their business and what they want to happen. I can tell you there's other partners and other people that I've met at Swell that are absolutely using XRP in different capacities and building things on chain for the use of XRP in their applications, partnered with Ripple that have, Ripple's made strategic investments in. I was on a call with one of them this morning. So the answer is yes and no. Not in the beginning, but over the long term and the duration, absolutely. We'll grab one more. I got enough time. Semper Fi, Marine, thank you for your service. They say, hey, Jake, the XRP Master Jedi, would you agree that the 4 things that XRP needs for institutional adoption is clarity, liquidity, cover for institutions in DeFi, and L2 people being educated on the XRPL? I'm going to defer to David Schwartz. He said the main 2 things in opposition for adoption of XRP at this current time are the regulatory environment and the volatility in the asset. So you kind of the first 2 that you mentioned here. I don't know that DeFi is absolutely needed to get the payment component going, but that'll be a later deal. And then education for sure. I'm on here advocating for that. Many others are doing the same thing. But as far as institutional adoption goes, I do think that they need regulatory clarity, which they already have around XRP. And then there needs to be enough liquidity in the asset, and it needs to be a high stable price for them to want to hold it on their balance sheet and on in their books. And that's going to be it for me. Again, appreciate you guys taking time out of your Monday and Wednesday nights to come hang out with me. You always ask great questions. We would love to see you in the mastermind. If you want to go check that out, it's $2. If you use the code BeyondBroke, all capitalized, the number 1, and then MO like Mary Oscar, get you the first month for $2. They're at beyondbroke.com. If you want to work with a wealth advisor for your digital asset portfolio, whether you have enough or not, you can always reach out to Digital Wealth Partners, and they will take time and meet with you. I think it's $300 for a consult. If you do qualify, they'll give you a free consult just to see if it's a good fit for you. If you do have over 50,000 XRP, and yeah, we would love to work with you there as well. If you guys want to see anything, I could try to keep you update with everything that's going on. We talk about this and a lot more in the mastermind, a lot more in depth. I'm a little more candid than what I share here publicly. So if you want access to that, we would love to see you over there. Give you the code and then the LLC, and we went over the trust deal also. So with that, I'm going to wrap it. I hope you'll have a wonderful Wednesday, a wonderful week, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you, TikTok. Y'all have a good night.